This is Richard Williams, 72 years old, garbage collector, worked the same route in Maple Grove for 40 years. Everyone in the neighborhood knew him. "Good morning, Mr. Williams." They thought he was just a poor old garbage man. Last month, Richard died, and his will was read. He left $8.2 million. Nobody knew. This is his story. Richard Williams wasn't born rich. Born in rural Georgia, poor family. Father was a farmer. Mother cleaned houses. Richard was the youngest of 6 kids. They had nothing, but his mother taught him something important. Live below your means, save every penny, invest wisely. Richard was smart, got good grades, wanted to go to college, but there was no money. Age 18, Richard got a job, garbage collector, city of Maple Grove, Pennsylvania. Pay $2.50 an hour, about $200 a month. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work. Richard took the job and never left. For 40 years, Richard collected garbage, same route, same neighborhood, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. He was reliable, friendly, always on time. The neighborhood loved him. Kids would run out. "Mr. Williams, Mr. Williams." He'd give them candy, wave, make them smile. Adults respected him. "Morning, Richard. Thank you for your work." Richard was humble. "Just doing my job, ma'am." But what nobody knew, Richard was building an empire. Richard lived in a small apartment, 1 bedroom, $400 a month rent. He drove a 1987 Toyota Corolla, bought it used for $3,000, drove it for 30 years. He wore the same 3 shirts, rotated them, washed them every night. He ate simple meals, oatmeal for breakfast, sandwich for lunch, pasta for dinner, never went to restaurants, never bought fancy things. People thought, poor Richard, he can barely afford to live. But Richard wasn't poor. He was investing. New TV, new clothes, entertainment. Richard invested it, all of it. He studied investing, read books from the library, learned about stocks, compound interest, long-term growth. He invested in index funds, blue-chip stocks, dividend-paying companies, companies like Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble. Boring, steady, reliable, just like Richard. Richard started with $50 a month. First year, $600 invested. 5 years in, he had $5,000 saved and invested. 10 years, $15,000. 15 years, $45,000. 20 years, $120,000. 25 years, $280,000. 30 years, $650,000. 35 years, $1.4 million. 40 years, $3.2 million. And Richard kept living in the same apartment, driving the same car, wearing the same shirts. Nobody knew. The neighborhood just saw a garbage man. Mrs. Patterson, who lived on Oak Street for 30 years, would sometimes slip Richard a $20 bill at Christmas. "Here, Richard, buy yourself something nice." Richard would smile. "Thank you, Mrs. Patterson. That's very kind." What Mrs. Patterson didn't know, Richard had $2 million in his investment account. Mr. Chen, who owned the corner store, would give Richard expired food. "Don't want it to go to waste, Richard." Richard would thank him. "Take the food." Grateful. What Mr. Chen didn't know, Richard could have bought the entire store. Cash. The kids on Elm Street had a lemonade stand one summer. Richard bought a cup. "One best lemonade I ever had," he said. The kids beamed. What they didn't know, Richard was worth $4 million at that point. But Richard never told anyone, never showed off, never changed. Richard turned 70. He kept working. "Why would I stop? I like my job. I like the people." But privately, Richard was making plans. He had $7.8 million. No wife, no kids, no family left. He knew he didn't have long. Heart problems. Doctor said maybe 2 years. Richard made a decision. He'd give it all away. To the neighborhood, the people who'd been kind to him for 40 years. He met with a lawyer, drew up a will. "I want this money to help people, real people, not corporations, not charities with overhead. People." The lawyer was shocked. "Mr. Williams, you're a millionaire?" "Yes, and I'd like to stay that way until I die. So please keep this confidential." October. Richard Williams had a heart attack. He died at home, alone, peacefully, age 72. The neighborhood was devastated. "Mr. Williams is gone." Kids cried. Adults cried. They organized a funeral. Modest, small church. Everyone came. They collected money to help with burial costs. Poor Richard probably didn't have much. They raised $3,200. What they didn't know, Richard's estate was worth $8.2 million. 1 week after the funeral, the lawyer, Mr. Harrison, called a community meeting. "All residents of Maple Grove neighborhood, please attend." Regarding Richard Williams's estate. People came, confused. What estate? Richard didn't own anything. Mr. Harrison stood at the front of the community center, 200 people in the room. He opened a folder. "I'm here to read the last will and testament of Richard Williams." People shifted. "Uncomfortable. This should be quick," someone whispered. "Poor guy didn't have anything. I, Richard Williams, being of sound mind and body, hereby distribute my estate as follows. Total estate value, $8.2 million. The room went silent. "What? 8 million? That can't be right." Mr. Harrison continued. "First, $4 million to be placed in trust for the Maple Grove Youth Scholarship Fund. Every child in this neighborhood who graduates high school will receive $40,000 for college. For the next 100 children." People started crying. Second, $2 million to establish the Sanitation Workers Retirement Fund, to be distributed among all garbage collectors in this city who have served more than 20 years. Gasps, applause. Third, $1 million to Maple Grove Elementary School, to build a new library, to be named the Richard Williams Reading Center. Cheers, tears. Fourth, $1 million to be distributed among local charities, food banks, homeless shelters, youth programs. Fifth, $200,000 to be distributed among the residents of Maple Grove neighborhood, $500 per household. The room erupted. Mrs. Patterson was sobbing. "I gave him $20 every Christmas. He had millions, and he never told me." Mr. Chen collapsed into a chair. "I gave him expired food. He could have bought anything, but he took my scraps and thanked me." The kids from Elm Street, now adults, were crying. "He bought our lemonade every summer for 20 years. He was a millionaire, and he bought our $1 lemonade." Mr. Harrison held up a hand. "There's more. Richard left letters, personal letters to many of you. He started distributing envelopes." Mrs. Patterson opened hers. "Dear Mrs. Patterson, thank you for your kindness every Christmas. The $20 bills meant more to me than you know. Not because I needed the money, but because you saw me. You valued me. In a world that often ignores garbage men, you said you matter. I never forgot that. I invested your Christmas gifts. Over 30 years, with compound interest, your $600 became $47,000. I'm donating that amount in your name to the Children's Hospital. Thank you for teaching me that kindness has value. Richard." Mrs. Patterson couldn't breathe, couldn't speak, just cried. Mr. Chen opened his. "Dear Mr. Chen, thank you for the expired food. You never wanted me to go hungry. You shared what you had, even when you had little yourself. I want you to know, I never ate that food because I was starving. I ate it because it was given with love. I'm leaving you $50,000 personally. Use it to expand your store, or retire, whatever brings you joy. You fed me for 40 years. Let me feed your dreams. Richard." Mr. Chen put his face in his hands, shoulders shaking. The kids from Elm Street opened their letter together. "Dear neighborhood kids, thank you for the lemonade. Every summer, for decades. You never knew my name at first, just called me the garbage man. But you always smiled, always waved, always said thank you. That meant everything. Every $1 you made from your lemonade stand was more valuable than anything I could buy, because it was made with joy and shared with kindness. Each of you is receiving $10,000 for your children's college funds. Keep making lemonade. Keep being kind. The world needs more of you. Richard." They were all crying, hugging each other. The community meeting lasted 4 hours. Everyone shared stories about Richard. The time he helped Mrs. Johnson carry her groceries. The time he fixed Mr. Rodriguez's fence for free. The time he found little Emma's lost cat, searched for 3 hours. The time he shoveled snow from every driveway on Oak Street during a blizzard. They all thought he was just a kind old man who had nothing. But Richard had everything, and he gave it all away. Today, the Richard Williams Reading Center stands at Maple Grove Elementary. Beautiful building, thousands of books, computers, study rooms. Above the entrance, a plaque. Richard Williams, 1952-2024, garbage collector, millionaire, friend. He taught us that wealth is not what you have, but what you give. 47 kids have received full college scholarships from his fund. 199 sanitation workers received retirement bonuses, averaged $10,000 each. Every household in Maple Grove received 5. Most donated it back to local charities in Richard's name. Mrs. Patterson, now 75, volunteers at the library every day. "Richard taught me something. I thought I was being kind to him, giving him money, but he was teaching me about real kindness, real humility. He had millions, and he bought my Christmas cookies, and said they were the best he'd ever had. That's who he was." Mr. Chen expanded his store, named it Williams Corner Market. "He ate my expired food with gratitude. He could have eaten anywhere, but he chose my store. That's the kind of man he was." The kids from Elm Street started a tradition. Every summer they run a lemonade stand. All profits go to the Richard Williams Scholarship Fund. Last summer they raised $8,400. He taught us that $1 lemonade can change the world, if it's given with love. Richard Williams worked 40 years as a garbage collector, made modest income, lived in a tiny apartment, drove an old car. Nobody knew he was a millionaire. Nobody knew he was investing every penny.
Nobody knew he was planning to give it all away, because Richard didn't want recognition, didn't want fame. He just wanted to help people, the people who'd been kind to him, the neighborhood that had been his family. This is the story of Richard Williams, the garbage man who was a secret millionaire, the man who proved that wealth isn't about what you show, it's about what you save, what you invest, what you give. Richard lived on $20,000 a year, invested $800,000 over 40 years, compound interest did the rest. He turned a garbage collector's salary into $8.2 million and gave every penny to the people he loved, not for recognition, not for legacy, but because kindness should always be returned. Richard Williams died with $400 in his checking account and $8.2 million in investments for others. He lived like he had nothing, so that others could have everything. That's not just wealth, that's wisdom.